Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Diversity and Equity in Education. I am April Cobb with April's Beauty Bar.
I am Denise Thomas, the Diva D with Carved Out Divas, Miss D Reads. Good evening. Welcome, everyone.
And we're being hosted by the phenomenal Bianca Gooseby with Teaching for the Culture. Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all hear the raspiness? The allergies, the pollen is trying to take me out. What about you, Denise?
Well, I'm surviving. This allergy season has been actually milder than it has been over the past couple of years. I think I'm just because I'm taking something different, but it's still, it's still a doozy. Let's just say that it still knock you out when you come home. You want to take your allergy meds and just drop in the bed, just like I'm done for the day. Yeah. So
I was only out for a brief moment to go to church today. And yeah, it literally felt like the pollen was just dropping on my skin. Like I could feel it, which is so crazy. And I immediately came in, took a shower, left the shoes at the door. Because this is a different this is a different what they say, a different makeup of this pollen. It seemed like a different strength. This the supernova pollen.
yeah, this is hard for people who have carpets in the house. That's why you're trying to rip up as much as you possibly can and put down like flooring or tiling or something like that you can sweep and mop off easily, because this right here, yeah, you don't want to stick in your stuff, and kids and things will track it right into the house. So it's just horrible. So for all of allergy sufferers, we empathize and sympathize with you.
Most definitely. We're going to start off with reminding you all that tomorrow is tax day. If you have not filed your taxes, be sure to contact your tax preparer and schedule for an extension. Because I still haven't got my taxes from last year. I'm still in the queue. Like, I still don't understand that, but it's the craziest thing ever. No, I mean from not 2021. I mean from 2020. Crazy, right?
Right. Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Let's just say that it is what it is. Deal with it. That's what I said to the tax man. Hey, listen, you just deal with it. We gonna get there together, but just not at the same pace that you expect me to get at. Everybody else gonna be jumping and grabbing them W-2s and running and getting their tax. No, those of us that owe people money, owe the government, we're not exactly expeditiously running to deal with those situations. So you have to come get me.
Exactly. So what you say? Come snatch me up.
Snatch me. Just like that. Snatch.
Come snatch me up. Come find me. Come looking for me.
Who are you looking for me? Oh boy, I tell you.
And on that same note, School District of Hillsborough County wants some more money. What's your thoughts on that, Denise?
Well, we've asked for lottery money. We've asked for property tax money over and over again. And now we're back again. We're back around the corner again with more property taxes. And the real question is, what are you doing with the money that you already had? How is that money being allocated? How have you spent that money? We want to know what's the situation, what's the deal? Why is it that we need more funds, but we can't get more raises? We can't fix things in the schools. We can't. There's a lot of things that money could have gone to. So whenever somebody asks me for money, the first question I ask is, what you need it for? What do you need this money for? Because it seems like you needed money last year, the year before, you needed thousands, and then we're in such a deficit. Well, the question is, when you give somebody money and you're already showing them that you can't manage the money properly, I mean, should I give you more? I'm just take flight. I'm just saying.
Because notice that owl was tiptoeing across, like, maybe if I tiptoe, they don't see me. Maybe if I tiptoe, they won't know I already asked for somebody and I use them. Maybe if I tiptoe. Well, you didn't tiptoe, and if it is not including salaries. Now let's go back to the reality of it all, though. Do they need the money? Yes, without question. But we need to go back and look at how the money was misappropriated, possibly used inappropriately. possibly whatever that was done before, so that we don't land back in this same situation in the event that they do get the new funding. So we got to look back and see if those same people are there, and if so, they need to get out. We need to go back and look at those same people that are there and see did any of it go in their pockets. Wait, no, I didn't mean to say that. Okay, yeah, that part.
Exactly. Yeah, because like I said, hey, I just want to know how it's been. I mean, I want so much more transparency, so much more openness, so much more, just it's okay. At this point in time, everybody knows that the money has been spent in a strange way, or we're finding dollars in some strange sort of way. Just tell us what the money is for. I mean, well, we're going to talk about some people and some money in just a second, but yeah, that's where we are with Hillsborough County. We really want to know how you're spending it, because I can just throw out there again, for the 5th year in a row, I still missing blinds. And as another school year has gone by, I just want to let you know that I'm up to 19 blinds now, because we started off about 5 years ago, it was just 10. And as time goes by and things like that, now we need 19. And hey, I'm not the one pulling the blinds. I'm not the one adjusting things to where kids bump into the blinds and stuff like that. So I just know, and they're just those long. I just need your help. Just need help. I'm grateful for the fact that after several years we got a little AC situation fixed. But is it going to take that long to get the blinds fixed? So again, asking questions about the money. What are we doing?
Well, that's a great question, and I guess we'll just sit and wait, like on the dock of the bay, wasting time. In other news, fourth quarter. We're in the fourth quarter. We all know that, and what parents and others may not realize is that next week is what week, Denise?
Well, next week for us is progress report week.
Exactly, and conference night.
Yes. Oh, our conference night. I don't. What days
Y'all
are
is
yours?
the
My
following.
conference night is the 26th of April, I believe it is.
Progress reports for us is this week. Conference night for us also is the following week. So
Okay.
you're right. So parents, 30 days and counting.
Oh no, we're less than 30 days now. We're 29 days. When we walk in the door tomorrow, we'll be at 29 days of school left. Because believe me, I'm counting all. Just count it out. Count it out.
Yes. So at this point, when you got the third quarter grades, you should have received phone calls from guidance counselors, administrators, anybody on that team, that academic team that is making you aware that your child is either number one, needed to attend summer school in preparations for that, or number two, your child is at risk of being repeating that grade level, or number three, should have said three, your child has credits that they need to recover over the summer. And actually, they don't necessarily have to even wait for the summer if they can roll now in some of the virtual classes. So yeah, what we doing? Are we gonna wait till 11:59, because we are past
way past
time? Yes. Mm-hmm. So do your parents.
No, when parents, when we have identified the children that need the ELP, they actually need to do something that just like show up. You can't just say, okay, well, I need ELP, but I don't come to it. I mean, there's consequences for either actions or lack of action. So understand that if they need the ELP, they have to come. They have to participate. I mean, it's unfortunate they would need to have it, because it means these are things that we could have taken care of throughout the school year. But okay, this is what needs to happen. But also, parents, just be mindful for us. It's all about technology. A lot of times, and this is definitely the time of the year when I hear from the most parents. I may have been calling all year long, zero response. But when it's, I would say about 45 days before the end, why you didn't tell me they were failing? Well, the question is, and here's because this is where technology messed you up now. Okay, how did you know he was failing? Well, I checked Canvas. Well, guess what? You could have checked Canvas starting in August, not check Canvas right now to tell me he's failing and why I didn't tell you. You knew it. You knew how to access it, and you knew that the child was failing. So it's like when we reach out a lot of times, it's like the same way we can check social media. A lot of us are glued to our phones. We're glued to them phone. We on there. We got social media. You also have the apps. Go on there and look at your child's grade, because it really, a child who has performed poorly first and second quarter, you can pretty much anticipate the same thing is going to happen third and fourth quarter. So get the help, get all the things that they need early, but don't be surprised and shocked if this child has been coming home with an F every single quarter, and now you can't believe they got an F again. So that's just one of the things that we do, and we're providing the services. We have on our campus, we have morning tutoring, after school tutoring, we have tutoring through host, we have ELP. So there's so many things that's available, and if the child is not doing well, that's a choice the child has made to not attend or not participate, not do what they need to do. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind.
And don't forget the 24-hour access to tutoring through paper, which is offered through Hillsborough County Public Schools as well. So parents, again, we got to do our parts. We got to do our parts. We're getting ready to prepare for your children to be in your care as we share them with you during the summer months. It is very important that they are safe. It is very important that we do not allow them to sit in front of computers or gaming systems where their minds are idle when it comes to academics, because we know that learning loss does occur in the summer. So we definitely need to keep them engaged and help build up their momentum when it comes to academics, because when they come back in August and not have looked at anything for 2 months, it is challenging to fight against the technology. It is challenging for them to sit in the classroom for X amount of time and not be doing something where they up, moving around, so on and so forth. Remember, we have to teach habits. They don't just formulate by themselves. We don't know it, but every time we do something and we do it repetitively without thought, that is a taught habit. So we have to make sure that we're intentional about teaching our children academic habits, even when they're not in school for the summer.
Right. And just to piggyback off of that, we're already going into, let's not say going into, we've been in a deficit. We have been in a deficit for the past 2 years. I would say, since, if you think about the pandemic starting in 2020, the children are now 2 years behind. I mean, because they're not following through. Okay, let me give you an example. In my classroom, of course, I teach reading, but we also do work on projects and things like that where the kids are required to type in Microsoft Word. They might be putting together PowerPoints, things like that. If you believe that your child is good on the phone, it does not translate into typing on a computer. It does not translate into typing on a laptop. They having them open a file, having them convert something from a Word document and transfer it into the PowerPoint. It's amazing the skills that they don't have. And then we're requiring them now to turn around and do their exams or do their FSAs on a computer. So they're moving slower and slower and slower, because just the hunt and peck, you've seen people who hunt and peck through the keyboard. They're struggling just to find, okay, in order to make a sentence, all right, if they're not getting constant practice on a laptop or desktop, it's taking them forever to write a sentence. And now they got to turn around and write an entire essay, a response to a prompt, typing it in a certain window of time. So that alone, just those skills are become a deficit in the summertime. And then on top of that, you add on top of that lack of reading. And they must read. I don't know what else we could say. I think we said it before when we said that if the kids come home and say they don't have any homework, well, the homework is reading, picking up a book and reading something. That the kids have to read, because they're going to go back into school and they're going to be really far behind. Just catching up with basic words, basic vocabulary. So we really implore you to really go out there and just have materials for them and try to make sure that's done. And we reach out to the community. Hey, community, in other neighborhoods that are a little more affluent, they have book boxes everywhere where they have free books. They give away books for the kids. They're nowhere in the hood. As you can see, you can't find stuff like that. I remember every child don't have access to go to the library. So why can't we put up book boxes everywhere all around the community so kids have access to books? Just a question to throw out there. Everybody who's running for school board this year.
And also to create a connection for what you're talking about, Denise, when it comes to students that do handpecking on keyboards. That is an example of a technology gap for our children. Software, I guess we could call it software technology inequity for our children, because if they've not been exposed to it in elementary school where they were intentional about teaching them keyboarding skills, then therefore when it comes down to them taking an assessment on a computer and they've not acquired the skill to learn how to type properly, and to where it's not, the majority of their time is not spent on typing versus the content that they was producing from their prompts, there goes to why some of our reading scores or may be very low, because the child may not be writing in complete sentences due to needing to hurry in response. So that's something to think about as well. I'm sure somebody thought about that, but I don't know if they thought about it enough to care to keep in mind that for those schools that does not have one-to-one, meaning one classroom have a computer cart, one-to-one, one class have a lab on campus that they can use more than once a month. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of those things need to be considered when it comes to our children having to take assessments online, but that's a whole nother topic. But I just wanted to highlight that example when it presented itself, because a lot of times people be like, well, what do you mean? Well, there's an example of it right now of the inequity when it comes to a standardized assessment, and we're unsure what it's going to look like in the future, because for some people, some reason, it's being misconstrued or misunderstood that there is no more FSA. Yes, that's true, but it's just a new name for the standardized assessment that we're going to be taking, and the progress monitoring is going to make some teachers just say, forget it, with an emphasis on the get it. Okay? Legs.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, and
get it.
What'd you say? F for what?
Forget it. Right. Forget it.
Right. Slide his head in there.
As we enter into the summer at the very the entry point of the summer, and there's it's right at 800 vacancies. So make it make sense. You work at a transformational school in the district. A transformational school is a school that has demonstrated the inability to demonstrate the growth in which the state considers passing. That's what I call it. It's not that all kids are demonstrating growth. It's just not at the level in which they deem acceptable or a success rate. Because in most cases, almost all of my kids demonstrate growth. The ones that come demonstrate some form of growth, just not enough to put us in a certain grade capacity. So at my school site, we serve youth that all of our schools, except for one, and this is questionable about that sometimes too, that are DF schools. Every last one of our school feeder schools are low performing schools. Yet we cannot provide reasoning or explanation enough to keep the math resource teacher for 6th grade. Now I've been trying to figure this out. We are a transformation school. The majority of our kids, over 60% of our kids, correction, over 70% of our kids enter into the 6th grade math not being on level according to the state. Yet we're going to take away the support for those children. Now, I want that to make sense to somebody.
And that's what's so sad.
We're struggling with the high D. But you're going to take away the resource as we are a D because we can't prove why we need that person. Because no other school have that person anymore. But we always say we're going to meet the school's needs as necessary. Make that make sense. And again, parents got so much going on. By the time this happens, the cut is already made, done. And now we are kids just struggling to be struggling.
And according to all this new documentation that we received for that's actually sitting on the website, the 2021 through 2026 public schools, a strategic acceleration plan. And some of the things that's in the acceleration plan include, technology, include supports, include let me just go through. We're going to talk about their organizational priorities, which one was academic excellence. Well, in order, first of all, to provide academic excellence, we need to make sure we have the supports so that the kids can have the academic excellence. The second one is, and I love this one, supportive organizational culture. Okay, so that we need to have a working environment that is safe and inclusive and healthy for all constituents, everybody involved. Then the third one was exceptional talent to develop a diverse and effective workforce. And then the best part, which actually we should have tacked on in the very beginning of the of our video, was fiscal and operational responsibility.
There you go.
Whew. And that's just the three. I mean, the four. What do you call them again? The four organizational priorities set forth in this new strategic plan. I want you to read it. It's on the website. Just read it for yourself. So because as we ask for more money, as we have lack of supports for the kids.
Yes, because right now that's just not making sense to me. It's like we're already not scrambling. How would I say? We're already placing more barriers in front of those children that they do not need to be placed there. Like they have already demonstrated that they need the support. They've already demonstrated that. The test scores have already demonstrated that. Their skill sets coming so low in specific standards have already demonstrated that. So why would we need to prove that it's needed? And because other schools don't have it, that's a reason for it not to be in position at a specific transformation school. None of that makes sense. None of that. And I don't understand when, they visit with HR and they have to basically beg for positions that support kids. Like, that's what the funding that we receive is for, the children. So we're going to take away a position that is directly correlated to a majority of children on the campus versus an office.
Should we take flight? Right. Because I'm just concerned. I don't understand. Yep. Take flight, because I don't understand. That makes no sense to me. It does. It makes absolutely no sense. And our children, I mean, if you can look at just what the children are reading, how they're writing, and tie it back to behaviors, and we can look at the suspension rate. So we will talk about that. We can look at discipline. We can look at all these things. And you're telling me we don't need this level of support? Our children are desperate for the supports, and this is everywhere. Don't think for, oh, you know what? Let's just to throw it out there real quick. Can I throw out the demographics real quick?
Please
just throw it out there.
Sure.
Do you know that the highest population in Hillsborough County, out of all the students, let me tell you, we are the 7th largest school district. We have 224,000 students. And the highest population is Hispanic at 37.1%. Now, this leads us to believe that a lot of the when we go to the websites for the county, a lot of things geared towards that population, which is okay, which is great. But we can't neglect the fact that we also have two additional large numbers, which is the 32.9% white students and 21% Black students. So we need all the support, all of us together. Everyone needs the supports to get what we need. And they're dispersed through a number of schools. But looking at the concentration of schools where we need the most support, we need, what are we doing? What are we doing?
You didn't know what to say. No more.
I didn't know what to say. I just know most of the East End. Look at my face.
You said what we doing. And that leads to the question of, there was a post and some highlight on the Hispanic community members came together and met with Superintendent Davis, and they basically are community members, leaders in their rights, in their amongst their community members, and he extended them opportunity to speak with them. There was a that what they said, that olive branch was extended to take time to speak with them, and I challenged a group of African American Black families to form a group like that, and also go in and have those conversations with Addison to see exactly, how collaboratively we too can have our children's needs highlighted from a point of view of the community and family, because that's all it is. They came from a standpoint of community and family, not the committees they're creating in-house with the majority of the district employees. No, not that committee. We're talking about a committee that they formulated outside, and then he welcomed them in with a meeting and so on and so forth. So, and I'm sure, Denise, that has a lot to do with the representation of that 30-some odd percent, which is the majority right now. So again, we keep missing opportunities by not presenting them in a structured way to where we say our children are just as important. And we know that because we too are bringing forth issues that matter to us as a community and as a people. So again, it doesn't take much. A lot of those individuals were sat on specific boards, like I think it was the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and I think it was so. And long story short, it needs to be done also amongst the African American Black families and community. We do not have to wait for organizations to represent us. Families can do it as well. So again, it needs to be done. It definitely needs to be done. So the question is, who is willing to spearhead it and do it? Because we're entering another school year. We're exiting another school year with so many areas of concern for our children, Black and brown. Again, the discipline may have gotten better, but the discipline has gotten better for everyone, right, because of the new discipline matrix. But again, the question becomes, who represents the majority as it relates to the disciplinary consequences that lead to out of school suspension, in-school suspension, expulsions, change of placement, or what they call change of environment? Who still are the lead? Who still is the lead representation for those categories? And we can tell you it is who?
Black, Black, Black. That's what it is. I'm just gonna say blackly black. It's gonna be our Black students. That's what it is. Our Black students. I mean, and when you look at the numbers, it correlates directly to the jail numbers. The same numbers that you see for the kids who are being suspended and expelled, and ISS, OSS, and every kind of thing, a DJJ. Those same numbers. Look at those numbers in the prison population. It's relatively the same. So they've basically created a paper trail that leads you straight into the jail system, which is school to prison pipeline. Once again, we're gonna always run it back, because we the facts don't lie, the data doesn't lie. That's the most important thing, the data. But I think that's why a lot of the data is suppressed, because if it was obviously right there sitting in front of everybody on the pages, I think people would be shocked. This information is interesting because they want to put the demographics out there, but make sure you also include other information. But we'll get into that in a moment. And our focus is definitely on the children. So let's can we segue a little bit, or want to add something on there? I want to segue to what's been happening in the community in terms of okay, speaking of a movement, remember you mentioned, okay, the Hispanic population came together and they became a force in the putting their information out there for Hillsborough County. Same thing, a community-based force operation. Voices were speaking out for what's happening right now in the Silver Oaks community. And if you're unfamiliar with what's been taking place, so first of all, there's been just a history of different type of violent crimes that's been happening over there, but also in association with that, because that's the thing that actually stands out. But then in association with that, the actual lack of decent maintenance of the housing. So to where the apartments, and you've probably seen the social media posters out there, the apartments are decrepit, falling apart, filled with mold, and these are health issues and health concerns. It's not just the adults that live there, but children that live there as well. And so these same children now are in our schools, in our communities. Now, don't you think that they may have health problems, allergy problems? They have things that's going on with where they're breathing. Now they have to go visit the nurse. They can't learn. All this stuff ties back into their education, their ability to learn. So now, and now because the voices have been loud and adamant and cranky, and it's amazing how people start to want to respond when you complain. And it's not complaining because you're just angry. You complaining because there's an issue at hand that needs to be fixed. And one of the posts I saw recently, I thought it was one of the best responses to the post, was because apparently now there's a security. They closed the gates and there's security around the corner.
Right.
So, okay, so wait a minute, y'all got money for security, but y'all can't fix no mold? Please take flight.
And fly fast. Don't stop. Don't stop. Just snatch security out of there. Snatch it. Now let's go back to what you were saying, Denise, about the health issues. I know we always make jokingly response about sometimes how children cough and it sounds like a lung is coming up, like it's that deep echoey cough. After hearing all that was going on with those apartment units, you start to inquire, where you live, where you live, where you live. Amazing to know that now it makes sense. So why some of them never could clear up this cough. It sounds like they have a smoker's cough.
Right.
So that might be a situation of the mold spores, which are deadly, can get in your lungs and it can just begin to permeate to where it takes you out. Some children never get rid of this cough all year long. All the time they sound sick. And yes, they live there. They live there. Right. And you begin to wonder, how inhumane is it for our organizational leaders and our elected officials? How inhumane and irresponsible is it to hear someone call you and say, this is happening to me and my family? The pictures alone look like something out of a home that has been not lived in for decades. They have visible mold all through. This is what we could see. So under a microscope, those little the ones that collect in the air, that means that the house is filled with it. Those are not to the naked eye. How inhumane, insensitive, irresponsible is it for someone in those positions to say, oh, my office can't handle that. Oh, I can't do anything with that. You need to call somebody else. Oh, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And that's the same experience that you had when you were complaining about the high level of crime that was occurring in your backyard. Oh, I can't do nothing with that. It's owned by HUD. Oh, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
But needless to say, that same individual that owned those apartments that fall under HUD jurisdiction because they get funding from the government.
Correct.
You're telling me there was nothing you could do? But some of you all that walked over there to do interviews, you were disgusted by it just by seeing the story. You stepping in your $100 shoes over feces and urine and toilet paper, but we couldn't take the time until it was the voices got so loud and we couldn't ignore it because people were being called out on it. How insensitive, inhumane, and basically reckless could you be? I could not sleep like that. I couldn't. So all you can do is make phone calls. All you can do is send the emails. All you can do is tag people until the voice gets so loud to where they can't ignore it. And then, unfortunately, it has to take on a political spin now. Unfortunately. But in the end, we want to know who is going to fix this situation to where children are living in these conditions, small children. Who is going to help these mothers? Not for a moment. Not for a moment now. We want them to be put in a position where it's going to be longevity with this, to where they're not going to say, oh, they came and paint over the mold. They should, at this point, some of them health-wise should have been told this building is condemned. And and the owners of these units, where there are several being owned, even my cousin that lives in Alabama, she is underneath Cambridge apartment management. So they're all over. They're not just here. Now hers is nice, very nice compared to like here. Like it's insane. And then it goes back to Remember that Christmas when my granddaughter, I went over there and it was the feces coming out of the ground and I had to reach out to Louisville. Same owners. And come to find out, they went to fix that situation. And being that Super Bowl was interestingly coming to town, they beautified them on the outside so they looked the part on the outside with the fencing. They got a new coat of paint. Like the apartments look nice on the outside. But come to find out, they're still dealing with those same issues. So it becomes, that's an example of you're going to do something for the moment, but don't follow up. Who is going to address the issue that these families may need to have legal representation to identify the damage that it has done to their health? Because just because you can't see my lungs are now black and covered in spores,
doesn't mean
like I've been a smoker all my life, the damage is done. You only get a pair of lungs. That's it.
Yep.
So again, we want to know the who. Who is going to address the issue beyond us being highlighted on the other side of a media coverage that took, in my opinion, took them too damn long too, because they knew, but it wasn't a hot enough topic. It wasn't interesting enough. But always on the back of, and I get the adults. I value y'all too, but my focus is those children. Those children and those mothers are fighting for their children, and now they're getting backlash, is what's being stated. Who gives a mother a hard time by wanting to do better for their children?
Wait a minute, they sound like some teachers I know. When you speak out, all of a sudden somebody got something to say.
We angry, we mad.
Right. But I mean, but that's the point. And the point of the matter is, it didn't happen overnight, just like the situation that we have experienced as teachers. This didn't happen. You don't wake up one morning and then your whole entire living room covered in mold. It don't go from, no.
It's the living room. It's the floors. You got feces coming up through the kitchen sink, through the bathroom toilets. Like, you're not going to tell me that maintenance was not made aware. But the bottom line is, if their only level of accountability or responsibility was to contact maintenance, and they couldn't call no other organization, the health department said they can't do that. Make that make sense. That means we need to be looking at some different, if this right here don't change policy locally to address that situations like this don't happen again to people that are already living in poverty. Stop playing.
My concern is this. We are looking at buildings that may possibly have to be condemned. And then you tie that into this voucher program where right now they're telling people, oh, move out your apartment and we're going to give you a certain amount of money. But the money that they're giving people doesn't cover new rentals. So where are people going to go? And how is summer going to look once all the kids are now out of school? There are 2 meals that they get complimentary, 2 meals a day, breakfast and lunch. How are they going to get to wherever they're going to? Because if they have to move, a lot of them are not relatively close. Hopefully the buses will come by and bring the food to the kids. But I see summer being very bleak in this future, especially if people are struggling for a basic thing like housing. That's going to be I cannot even imagine what that's going to look like, because they don't look like they're moving with any speed in terms of, all right, we're going to fix this problem. We're going to put people in new places. What's going to happen at that point in time? Or are they going to condemn the buildings without telling people or telling people, hey, you just got to leave in 30 days? I mean, what's going to happen? And what ultimately our question that we always ask is, what about the children? What about the children?
Where the funding is allocated for those families, because a majority of them have children. So again, off the back of children, but we're not meeting their basic needs. Once again. And the question is, why? Why is it happening? Why? And who is going to do something about it that have the ability to do so? We don't mean random people. We mean the people that were elected to do it, people that are in organizational spaces that have the capacity to do it through their power of voice, through their power of voice, voicing the wrongs that are happening to these children.
Right.
Shouldn't be able to
It's
sleep
just
at
it's
night.
just sad. I mean, I listen to all these organizations. We can basically say, listen, you also have 29 days because school's gonna be over in 29 days. You have 29 days to figure out a plan to help our children during the summer. And let me emphasize also something else. Help them for free. Help them for free. Because right now, we if parents are going through all this, help them for free. A lot of y'all got money, funds, dollars, cash, dinero, whatever you want to call it. A lot of y'all got money. You don't got to charge everybody for everything. And so please help find ways to help and assist the parents and assist the children. You got 29 days. We're gonna check in again. We got 29 days. We would love a list of programs for free where we can have assistance for the kids, where they have meals, where they have activities, where they have educational programs, something that's available for them in the summer that's gonna bless their lives. Right?
And we can start with one now. There's the Beauty Blueprint
Thank you.
Foundation. It's
There you
hosting
go.
the Blueprint Academy. We are super excited to now be at the home of Dr. Tracy's house, which is on the corner of Henry and Nebraska. We're super excited to be relaunching the mentorship program. Our first kickoff date is June the 4th. That's Saturday from 10:30 to 2:30. And again, we're starting off with a small core group in order to develop the program to a capacity that is COVID friendly, because COVID isn't going anywhere. It's just that our immunity has built a point of, anyway, I ain't gonna go into that. But yes, so again, the signups are there. We have space available. Don't wait till 11:59 and make sure that there is a commitment level to say, yes, my child is going to be there on the first and third Saturday. And yes, I'm going to not put other obligations before it, knowing that I've already committed. And yes, it will definitely be an area where we're going to address all things that are related to academics, STEAM, mental health, financial literacy, and so on and so forth. And we also, underneath the Beauty Blueprint Foundation, are prepared to launch our Blueprint Success Readiness, Career Readiness Program. And what that program is, it is for our youth that have 504s or our ESE that would like to receive career readiness information going through a course, a 20-hour course. And it's all virtual, and they can learn about different career readiness skills. And we have the opportunity to have been partnered with the program through Fifth Third Bank. That is a complete phenomenal dashboard filled with so many resources that the children definitely can't walk away saying it wasn't engaging, and it's something that they could use not only just now, but in their future and with their families, with resume building, mock interviews, career exploration, you name it. So again, we're always doing something to uplift our children and our families that we serve. So again, more details to come on that, because we just got everyone fingerprinted. It's a process. They had to be fingerprinted. So we're super excited with our 4 new counselors. So we're excited.
Exactly. And then once again, just being able to be a resource that helps the community is always a wonderful thing. So just keep in mind the fact that in order to heal our community, to help our community grow, we have to provide the resources that we need to allow the community to grow. And remember, our children, I hate to use a cliche, but our children are our future. So if we're not providing the resources that they need to grow, we're not going to build our community in a more positive way. So just keep that in mind. So, but yeah, that's I don't know if I have anything else to add other than conference night again is April 26th. Progress reports are going out. Parents, please pay attention to what's going on, especially on your children's phones. Oh my goodness, please, parents, I know y'all love to go hard. I'm going to leave it with this one. Y'all love to go hard for your kids, and there's nothing wrong with that, because that's your child. But also just be aware when videos come out, later on, sometimes it make you, your child look a little suspect. So just always say to yourself, let me review the tape. I think that's the key. You need to review the tape yourself. Review the Instagram video. Look at what the other kids are posting before you get too off the chain and be like, dang, yeah, they were right. My child did said and acted this way. So just keep that in mind. So, but the bottom line is just make sure you're checking your child's phone, because a lot of times stuff is in there that's inappropriate. Not just, and if you can't unlock your child's phone, that's a problem. I want you to make sure that when you look at your child text, look at the time they're texting. Some of them are texting all through the school day. So how are they learning if they're on the phone all day long? So all those factors come into mind when it comes back to asking questions about why my child grade look like that. Well, have they had that phone from morning till night to the time they went to bed? Has that phone ever sat in a charger, or does it go to bed with them every night? Are you responsible for what the content that's in their phone? So just wanted to share that with you.
I don't even understand phones going to bed with children. That's the most insane thing at all. It should be put in the room with the parent. There's no emergencies going on in the house where the child can anyway. All right, guys, it's been great. I hope you all had a phenomenal, happy Resurrection Day. He is the reason, once again, for this season as well.
Yes.
And again, the next 29 days, they're going to be challenging. We got the math FSA, we got the EOCs, you got the the reading FSA.
Yep. The reading and
yep. Bombard our children at a very high pace. Some schools will be testing for weeks. So again, give them some grace, but also set them up for success, making sure they're going to bed at night at a reasonable time, making sure they're arriving to school on time with a good breakfast. Make sure that they carry a light jacket if the classroom is always cold, because you never know which room they're going to be in for testing. Those are little things that can make a big difference for a child during testing, because if they're freezing cold, their arms in the jacket, they can't concentrate on taking the test. So I always bring throws in my room on testing day, because there's just always some that's in my group that need it. But again, do your part so our children could grow up and do their parts. And that's be very good, very good citizens. So again, that was April Cobb with April's Beauty Bar.
D from Carved Out Divas.
And we'll see you all next month with Diversity and Equity in Education, being hosted by
the fabulous and phenomenal Bianca Goolsby of Teaching for the Culture.
Have a good day, guys. Bye.
Bye.